Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. It's time for something that I haven't done in quite some time, it seems, and that's take a good look at some of the recent models from One Page Rules. Now, One Page Rules has been making a killing of it lately in terms of both rules, in terms of just models, army composition, you name it, they've got it at this point. But they launched their first narrative campaign recently, which we obviously will have a link to down below. And what I thought was really cool was that rather than kind of, paywall all the new stuff, they had an option for people who, like me, have been supporting them since probably the very beginning, back when they had Kyoshineko doing most of the dwarf models for them, which was ages ago, years at this point. That's kind of crazy. But it's basically taking two of their armies, the Sorians and the Duchies of Vinci, and having a big thematic campaign. They have all the rules broken down. There's some interesting missions involved. They've got all the table setups. They don't have suggested point values, but just the fact that it needs to be kind of equal forces. They do have some sample starting forces, but most interestingly, they also have some new models. So for veterans like me, both, you get the campaign, but you also get some new models as well for a very reasonable price. And I got to say, actually looking at the Frontier prices, if you don't have either of those armies and you're interested and you do have access to a printer, they're pretty good deals considering, how long over the span of months, if not years, some of those models were released. It's really kind of a good deal if you're interested. But me being the lizard-loving tabletop fan that I am, could not help but get some of these printed. And one of the nice things is the one-page rules models tend to be quite the sharp lookers right out the gate. So you can see there's not a whole lot of messy, ungainly supports everywhere. Pretty smooth, pretty easy to work with, and that's always a plus in my opinion. This is Teki, the neophyte Gecko Priest, who obviously is going to play into the story. I do need to clean that up a little bit down there. I want to say this is also one of the first time we've seen character models from OPR that actually were single piece. Now, they do often have a combined version available, which I tend to like to print because I'm lazy and don't want to mess with filing and playing with all of the warping and shrinkage that happens with various resins wanting to expand or contract or just not cooperate. So the single piece casts are always quite nice to be had. One thing you'll notice is he does fit very nicely on that 25mm base, so if you wanted to use him in other games where you have them all nicely organized in rank and file, the one-page rules figures do often really meet that requirement. So something to keep in mind if you're not into multi-basing or anything like that. Accompanying our intrepid Teki is Hakatlo. Hakatlo is quite the impressive big guy here. Now, he did have a middle tag, which I inadvertently snapped off. A couple spots I still need to clean off. But then again, when you're at a 4x zoom almost, you get to see all of those little minutiae, like that little scrap left over there. But just really nicely detailed. I mean, that's one of the pluses about 3D printing. And if my ancient, by printing standards, Photon Mono X, I don't even know, yeah, it was Mono X. It's not like a 2K, 4K, 0K. It's nothing special, but if it can get, a nice, good level of detail like that, I can only imagine what a decent printer these days is going to be able to get you. So those are the Sorian heroes for the campaign. We also have the Vinci heroes. First we have Ignacio, the intrepid inventor, who has some kind of a whisker or something stuck on his face. I don't know what that is. I can't tell if it's resin residue or what, but can at least get a good idea of his face there. Yes, I'll clean it up later. Now, I liked the Vinci stuff, and I dug through all of my stuff, and I can't find a single painted piece. I don't even have any of my unpainted ones. I'm pretty sure I gave everything to my brother, and I know he's painted quite a bit, but I don't have it handy, unfortunately. If you guys want to see that, I guess suggest you summon him up from what other nether realm he's lurking in on Discord or Warframe or whatever he's playing these days, and nag him to see some of his painted models. So our inventor friend here. And I also wanted to just comment that everything is printed at the standard resolution. I didn't tinker or tweak any of these files or adjust them. So just to get a good baseline look at everything, we'll let you see. But he had this nice little walking compass thingy. And again, I can see a little support that I somehow missed. Or I'm wondering if this is the stone that's related to the campaign without spoiling too much. You can see those kind of layering lines, and I don't know if that's just my printer's getting old and probably needs to be greased up. I thought my resolution's pretty decent. And I'll be honest, my favorite of the bunch was surprisingly the commanding officer for the Vinci in this, and that is Lucretia. Lucretia? And her little mechanical bird here with a little support. Thank you, my friend. So yeah, she's got her little robot bird there. And she is a scarred up grizzled veteran. I like the mechanical leg. I like the flowing cape. We've got the hand, poised behind her. Very fancy hilt here. I can't tell if that's supposed to be a button. Maybe not. I probably need to clean that up. The gear motif is strong with the Vinci. But then again, they have so many automatons. I kind of remember when the Duchies of Vinci were first announced was kind of as a Renaissance Italy version of the Tau, and they do kind of actually fit that, except they have a bit of an Empire vibe as well. But if you take a look through the Kickstarter, Frontiers page, I never correct myself there for a sec, you can see a lot of the options they have available to them, and there's quite a bit for both armies. I mean, most of the staples that you would see in other grimdark games, and obviously for grimdark fantasy, which is OPR's main fantasy battle rule set. I prefer skirmish, but that's just me. You'll see a lot of interesting analogs, but then they also have a lot of unique stuff as well. Now, me being the lizard fan that I am, started digging through my shelves and boxes and things in the hopes of finding some of my finished Sorians. Now, I know that I have them because I know that I've painted them, but I don't know where they all are. So that was problematic. But I did find a few OPR guys. Figured I'd drag some out. Why is he so shiny on his belly? Along with a few other... Actually, let's grab this guy. This is a funny one. A while back, One Page Rules actually did a set of sci-fi'd up... I want to say they were like the Starborn or something. But they're basically the stock Sorians with heavier armor and sci-fi weaponry. But the nice thing is they really do stack up quite well with a lot of the other lizards that are available out there. And again, these are just various companies. I feel like the Wargames Atlantic ones are a little on the thinner side compared to the beefiness of the OPR stuff. I mean, if you've got this classic right here, I hate to say classic, but how many years ago was the original Bones Kickstarter? That's about when this guy was painted. 2013. It was almost 10 years ago. My God. Where's the time gone, folks? But my plan, since I don't have any cohesive lizards that match up, I'm going to have a unified tribes. Maybe not with as much of the sci-fi weaponry. These were kind of funky from Clay Beast Creations. They went all in with the fantasy sci-fi Stargate style lizards, which was an interesting look. One of the Lost Kingdom guys when they were still doing the lizards. These are pretty cool, actually. I like the really big ones, but I'm going to say this was Archvillain. They're significantly larger, but that guy's also got a bigger base. Might make for a fun hero model. I mean, that's half the fun of these games anyways, is using whatever you guys have handy. I do happen to have one of the OPR Sorian Cavalry. Unfortunately, I know there was at least one, possibly two scenarios in the campaign itself that actually really suggested and then there's a need for cavalry, but it's always nice to have in comparison to other cavalry. They're a lot nicer. I was gonna look for some of my human OPR stuff, but all I could find are like all the aliens and non-humans. I've got plenty of that stuff. I don't have a whole lot in terms of the human models. I've got rats, I've got robots, I've got aliens, but sadly no humans. I'll have to remedy that. I mean, it's not like I don't have the files anyway. So maybe I'm going to see myself getting together a Vinci's army of my own. And as I mentioned earlier, most of these models have always been available in single piece form. So if you want to put it all together, that was kind of a hassle with the older Robot Empire guys. But they also do have single piece models as well, which makes for a whole lot easier hobby and painting experience. I know some of you like to really get in all those little nooks and crannies before actually finishing it and gluing it. I'm not like that. But, yeah. Where's my Inquisitor, as I mumble to myself? Thankfully, the models scale really well with currently existing stuff. So if you happen to have a bunch of, militia, city guards, things like that, you probably have a good starting base of putting together a Vinci's army. Although our hero is a little bit larger. So, something to think about, something to look forward to, and something to definitely check out if you guys are interested, both in the campaign, new figures, or just want to start collecting a nice cohesive army, of which one of these days I kind of miss having one. Maybe I'll do that myself. Any comments or suggestions, drop them on down below, and like I said, check out that link, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy it as well. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye!